What's up, guys? This is Midday, your local angry blade dancer here to talk about hard mode dungeons. Are they worth running? No, they're not. The short answer is no, and the long answer is also no. But allow me to go through the long answer for you. Okay, so unless you're doing something like Ebon Drake Lair or some shit like that to fucking get your charm pellet or your like rising flame outfit or a dormant or whatever, right? It doesn't really make a difference whether you run hard mode or normal mode in terms of rewards, okay? In terms of rewards. It might increase the drop chance of a legendary item. Whoops. It might increase the drop chance of a legendary item, but like because we lack the actual drop rates, like we don't have the stats, right? All we have is anecdotal evidence, and from general anecdotal evidence that has been I don't want to say collected, but experienced over the past since like Naru Sanctum, it's basically the same. Like the drop rate between normal and hard, right? It's indiscernible. If you have any feelings that one is more, that one drops more than the other, it is simply just from again anecdotal experience or like confirmation bias, right? Like through the general player base, there is no discernible difference between the drop rate of legendary items for normal and hard. So then what do we look at? Okay, we look at special items that the dungeon can give. Best example of this is like the Charm Pellet or Rising Flame outfit from Ebon Drake Lair. Both of those things are great. Another thing is titles, achievements, specific outfits, you know, which are all in the fine and dandy, but you do those things once, and then you forget about it, right? You just go back to running normal mode. So one argument that can be made for running hard mode instead of normal mode is to get these what is it, these items, right? These like wings or hands or horns or shit like that, because basically when you do for example like Nari Foundry or Ebon Drake Lair or Desolate Tomb, quote unquote the big three, or what was the big three, like the amount of effort it takes to run those dungeons is basically the same as normal mode, because nowadays our gear is so overpowered, I guess, for lack of a better immediate term, that we can just run through that content very quickly without worrying about mechanics or difficulty or HP values, etc., etc., or even in rage timers. So running those dungeons in hard mode is worth it because there is a benefit to them, because you can get shit like this. However, one thing to consider is that players of a high level that can clear that content very easily probably already has shit that's better than this, okay? So then we go to the lower level player base. Players that might have a much more difficult time clearing this content because, of course, you know, you have to work your way up. So for them, is it worth it? Not really. Why? Because it takes so much longer to A, learn how to do it, and B, do it, and like do the mechanics and knock out the boss's HP to get basically the same loot, right? So it's just not worth it. And then this problem goes as far back as Naru Sanctum. Like when Naru Sanctum came out, everybody was basically just running normal mode to get their bracelets. There were like some statics that were running hard mode, but as many as normal mode, not nearly. And look, I know that's normally how it's supposed to be anyways. Like even if you incentivized hard mode, there would still be a lot of people running normal mode, like compared to hard mode, but not nearly. Like it wasn't anywhere close. I mean, I don't have specific numbers for you. This is just off personal observation, right? But I'm sure most people the general player base would agree with me. Not all of you, but I mean a lot of you, that most people just ran normal mode for their bracelets. So that is like the first, like the beginning of the end for hard mode dungeons. At the risk of sounding dramatic. So basically, what we have now. I want to talk about, before I talk about solutions, right? Right now I'm just criticizing and giving constructive criticism because I'm pointing out flaws. But now I want to talk about another problem, and then I'll come back to this to kill two birds with one stone, okay? So why don't we move on to something else? New dungeons, new content. New content is made to help returning players come back and current players keep playing. Not in that order in priority, but yes. So what we've received here is that we've received Hollow's Heart and Starstone Mine for these new dungeons, okay? And the drop rates eat ass. They eat ass? Oh, you bet they eat ass. They eat ass through a flaming tube out of an Oreo, double stuffed. Okay, so I have 163 runs here. How many gloves have I seen? 1. Okay, I've seen 1. How many of these are hard runs? I want to say about 10. Not many. Now, the $1,000,000 question, how many gloves have you seen? 1. I've seen 1 glove. Now you say, okay, well, that's not that bad. You know, assume there's a 1% drop rate. Then this is normal, right? You've gotten 1 glove out of 163. If you get 200 runs, then you would, on paper, see 2 gloves. Good. Now I'm just gonna quickly push this button, change character, and move on to something else, or more of the same topic. As many of you know, I also played Blade Master, so why don't I just switch on to that character really quick? Okay. So they can just say, you know, one might say, midday, you're just unlucky. You bet your ass I am. Oh, I'm unlucky. But let's just observe, before we continue on that, how many runs I have, actually. Okay? And furthermore, not just about how many runs, but how much time I've put into it. Okay? So let's go here. 245. So all of a sudden it's 1 out of 400 plus. Okay? So I've seen 1 out of 400 plus. So midday, you're just unlucky. I get that. That's fine. But allow me to, once again, draw your attention to more of the same. This is Zorelia. He's done more than 300 Starstone Mine runs and has seen 0 earrings. Alright. Okay. He's unlucky too. Verge Noble. Like 1 out of 260, 270. Oh. Okay. That's pretty unlucky too. 1 out of 343. Oh. This is like happening to a fair amount of people. And this is I know for a fact this player is 8 Milo. He's done more than 550 runs now, and he hasn't seen 1, right? And then 180 plus no gloves. 183 runs, and he says none. LMAO. You can see here in the bottom. Oh, it's like it's not just me. It's like a whole bunch of people, right? Like 0 and 152. Okay, what if I'm not just unlucky, but the drop rate eats monkey dick? Which it does. I mean, it does, right? This is happening on a wide scale. And let me just draw your attention to this VOD I have saved, okay? This is... Wait, what? Hello? Okay, there we go. This is a VOD of more than 12 hours straight of me farming Hollow Heart over and over and over and fucking over again. This is more than 12 straight hours of me going ham, just farming the living shit out of this dungeon. It's not just me, okay? So right now, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. I'm gonna rewind a lot. I'm gonna rewind a lot. A lot. Okay, even more. Okay, so this is like 6 hours into the stream, right? Or like 5 hours? 5 hours into the stream? 5 hours into the stream. Yeah, five hours into the stream, okay? And for the next 7 hours, I farm with almost the same group of people over and over and over again. So this is not just me, where this is happening with evidence, with all these screenshots and this Twitch VOD, and I have more of these Twitch VODs. You can go through my channel and look through them. Be my guest, right? This is just like, this is masochism. This is straight masochism. This is putting yourself through like a full-time job's worth of playing. Well, holy shit, I fucked that up. Full-time job's worth of playing to get nothing. If I had that fucking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meme, it'd be like, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. And it is so frustrating to spend so much time. And this isn't one sitting, right? Like I said, I have multiple VODs. Just getting fucked by shitty drop rates. And this is the player here, the summoner number 2, that has this. He's been fucking farming his life away. I asked him, I'm like, are you going to sleep after this run? He's like, no, dude, I'm gonna die here. Like, it was the most depressing shit. And what, okay, so like I said, I would move on to something else and I would come back and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So basically, if you would please, incentivize hard mode dungeons, because they are no longer incentivized. They haven't been incentivized for months and months and months, by adding tokens to hard mode dungeons upon dungeon release. Now, one might say, oh, well, I mean, nobody's going to run normal dungeons then, which is not true because these hard mode dungeons are actually quite difficult. Or they might say, like, if you do that, then it's going to be way too easy to get them. Well, if it's way too easy to get them, then just, I mean, you can just tweak the fucking numbers to make it extra hard, right? It's better than this. It's better than this of just doing nothing but straight smashing your head against the wall and getting nothing but blood, right? It is so frustrating to do nothing but farm and to get absolutely jack shit for it over and over again. And every once in a while, you'll see in region chat in the dungeon instance or fucking clan chat, they'll be like, OMG, like, I got the item and it went for like 20k. I've actually seen like a bid go up to 18k. It is actual insanity for like a 3 or 4% DPS increase because these players are so fucking desperate to get these items because they're so rare. It is actual insanity. It is straight masochism. And from what I've heard, this is just the start. From every dungeon here on out, it's gonna do this to us. It's just actual straight insanity. And I'm just saying right now, if you do not want to completely destroy a player's motivation, which is super important for them to actually keep playing and supporting the fucking game, you should do something to help compensate. Now, I understand. Some players might say, well, Midday, the Korean servers and like whatever other servers also had to deal with this, and they didn't even get tokens later. Okay, that's nice and all, but the thing is that we don't have time to do this for 12 hours a day. Not happening. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter which country you're from. This is just not okay. And like I said, it's not just me. This is the stream. There's one of many, many examples on the North American or European server where players farm for hours and hours and hours at a time, right? This is 7 hours of straight farming with almost the same team. And it happens every day with multiple groups, and they just get jack shit. And look, I get it. There are some people who run it 80 times and see it like 3 or 4 times, right? That happens still. RNG will be RNG. But when multiple players, and when I say multiple, I mean multiple, numerous players, are experiencing this degree of frustration, that is not okay. And when a player loses motivation to play the game because they play and play and play and play and play and don't fucking get anywhere or see any results that they're expected to, equity theory kicks in. And what do? They lower their inputs to match their outputs. In other words, they play less. They burn out. People quit. And I know for a fact that many players are just refusing to do these 2 dungeons because they understand that the drop rate eats ass and they just want to wait until the token item gets out. And I mean, dare I say they're a lot fucking smarter than me, fucking running this shit over and over again. And ooh, fuck's sakes. So what I'm suggesting is that in hard mode dungeons, give us the fucking token item. I mean, it still takes a long ass time to get 200 or in recent times 250 of them. That still takes a long time. Right? And it'll take like almost 100 runs, and 100 runs of like this in hard mode. How long does that take? It takes like, let's say you average like 15 minutes a run with all the bidding and breaks and downtime in between runs where people have to leave the dungeon to come back in, etc., and potential wipes and stuff. Let's say they average to 15 minutes a run, okay? And you multiply that, hold on. You multiply that by 100. That still takes like 25 hours of straight playing in order to get your item. 25 hours of straight playing for 1 legendary item when you released 3 of them this patch. That's like 50 hours, not including this, because this isn't exactly the same, right? I mean, it still takes a while, but I didn't the math's not the same. But let's say like it takes at least 50 hours for both of these, and then this takes like another 10 hours a week. Okay? So it's like 60 hours for 3 items, and then you need to still upgrade these items, right? Which will take like another few hours of like farming just general items and shit. Unless you already have mats, then it can be a little faster than that, right? But that's like a reasonable amount of time to upgrade, right? If you spend 60 hours, that's 2 days, or sorry, like 2.5 days of straight playing. And I mean, you can't really play, you can't spend that much time on a game in like the first week. I mean, you could, but 60 hours in a week of playing is like more than a full-time job, right? So it's rough. So I don't think that's too unreasonable to just ask for something like that. And you know, I guess I forgot to include crits, but if you think it's too easy, I mean, just fucking lower the number. We don't need 1. We don't need 2. We can get 1 of the item, right, from a hard mode dungeon. Then it'll really take a long time. But at least we'll feel like we're getting somewhere, right? I mean, for fuck's sakes, we don't have to be completely in the dark. We're getting somewhere. At least we can see the fucking item in our inventory as it slowly climbs up and we get hope, right? And that's just, it's just a better way to put a carrot in front of a player instead of making the carrot fucking invisible, elusive. They don't know when it's going to drop down in front of their faces, right? So I'm saying, in order to re-incentivize hard mode, because it's no longer incentivized and it's not worth running, you could introduce the token item to make it A, less frustrating for players, and B, to encourage more engaging gameplay. All good things. All good things. Okay, so that's basically my rant. This is your local Angry Blade Dancer, peacing out. I just ordered my noose from Amazon, so I'll definitely be using that shortly. Get myself out of here. Either use it as a noose or an escape rope, one or the other. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. See you guys later.